Hello folks, a warm welcome to you all watching this short session on the benefits of dance in women's health. I'm Dr. Shalini, a practicing ENT surgeon and medical researcher by profession and a dancer by passion, having pursued classical dance forms since childhood. I currently learn Odissi with my guru Srimati Chakrabarti, who's a very well-known Odissi dancer and choreographer by profession with decades of experience of having pursued the dance form at various Indian and international platforms. She currently resides in Chennai and mentors students like me and several others in India and abroad. Joining me for this session today would be my friend and colleague, Dr. Manjushree, who's a gynecologist into medical research, having a decade and counting experience in women's health. Welcome to today's session, Dr. Manjushree.
Hi Shalini, thank you for having me here.
So coming back to today's discussion, the intent of creating this video was to have a very informal but informative discussion regarding classical and non-classical forms of dance playing a vital role in the wholesome health of women, which would include not just the mental aspects but also the physical aspects which impact women's health positively, including their reproductive and menstrual health as well. Let me begin by asking you, how would you look at dance being a catalyst to improving women's health?
So health, when we consider as in general wholesome, so it has a physical part of it and mental part of it. Physical and mental well-being impact significantly on overall bearing of a woman's health. So a woman's health undergoes, or woman's body undergoes primarily a lot of changes from her puberty till her menopause, and this is because majorly due to the play of hormones. So this has a significant impact on a woman's health, mentally and physically, and her reproductive health and her menstrual health. As they always say, anything should be in moderation. So does this apply even to the hormones too? So this being on the either side of the scale, being either too less or too more, has a considerable impact on a woman's health. So it is a constant effort from our part to strive to maintain this balance, which is a task and challenge in itself. So dance is this form of art which seems so light and beautiful to the eyes, but it takes immense dedication physically, consistency being the key here, to practice it on daily basis, which nourishes and maintains the physical and the mental well-being, and the various aspects of dance which are involved in maintaining this hormonal balance consistently contribute to a large extent in maintaining a woman's health throughout her career of dance or throughout her life, and as long as she practices is what I would say.
Now that's quite a positive and encouraging start to the session. But to elaborate more on that, how can we have a more chronological explanation of this?
Definitely, we could have a chronological explanation, and one would understand better if we actually went chronologically from the time a young girl starts learning dance to when she gets old and she still continues practicing her dance way beyond her menopause. So here let us take an example of a young girl who is just inducted into dance, and she has just started learning dance, and here I'm talking about prepubertal, or a girl who is just about to attain her menarche. So once a girl attains her menstrual cycles or menstruation, what happens is there is a role of hormones which is being played in her body, and a girl's body needs to get used to these hormones. Basically, these hormones, what do we mean by hormones? Estrogen and progesterone, which has a major role in a woman's menstrual life or a reproductive life, is dormant in everybody's body by birth. So it reaches a peak level during puberty, and after which they attain menstruation. So what do we mean by a good menstrual health? We mean having a regular period, once in a month, with moderation in flow. Moderation in pain also is acceptable, and no other complaints. By once in a month, we generally mean between 25 to 30 days. So 8 out of this 10 young women actually have glitches in having this normal menstrual cycle or normal phenomena every month over month. And why does this happen? They do not have regular cycles, they have unpredictable flow, they have severe weight gain, and everything comes down or boils down to a common diagnosis these days called as polycystic ovarian disease, which has many variants to it as the major causes. It's basically a lifestyle disease, I would say. How does dance help? So dance, to tell in a common language or a common term or plain terms, is that form of physical activity which includes stretching of muscles, which involves contracting of muscles. It involves your pelvic and abdominal muscles to a large extent, keeping them taut, as well as rhythmic tapping of your foot. So all this physical activity keeps to a large extent the fat around the abdomen at bay. Now, why am I talking about abdominal fat? Is because your major hormonal problems and major metabolic problems which maintains your menstrual health, your estrogen and progesterone, are mainly affected by the fat in the abdominal area. And dance as a form of your passion or exercise or your practice every day keeps that at bay at a large extent. So one, your estrogen and progesterone are going to be in normal levels. Next, the insulin which is secreted in the body acts better on cells. So your sugar is broken down well. You do not have excessive deposition of fat. Because of these two above factors, you would keep all kinds of hormonal disturbances at bay with regards to your flow, with regards to your pain, with regards to the duration of your cycle also. So this is, in general, the menstrual health of any reproductive woman pursuing dance, whether it is a younger or a middle-aged woman.
Let's come to another important aspect of a woman's reproductive age, which is childbirth. So, how do you think dance plays a role in that?
It's a very good question. So, when you specifically asked about childbirth, I thought I'd add I would divide this into two topics and I would talk about it. First is the woman's reproductive health, and next coming to the aspect of childbirth. So the reproductive health, what do I mean by reproductive health? It's just basically the woman's fertility. Fertility means nothing but the eggs growing to a certain size, so that at any given point of time you desire to be a mother or desire to conceive a child, you have that amount of fertility or you have the fertile reproductive health to conceive as and when you want it. And why do I say this as and when you want it? Because again, here hormones play a major role. Your hormones should be well balanced so that your eggs grow to a particular size. And how does this happen? This happens because you're obviously having a very good physical activity, and of course you're practicing this art form called as dance. Any form of dance it could be, where you're actually helping your pelvic musculature, keeping your abdominal fat at bay, and you're indirectly promoting your hormones to be in good balance. So that is one aspect of it. The second aspect of it would be childbirth. Now, as a gynecologist, definitely we assess the woman's pelvic area before we can tell that yes, you are okay to birth naturally. So definitely we cannot work around the corners of the bones. It's an inherited structure now. But what I would say is the pelvic musculature or the muscles attached to that bony structure, the muscle tone attached to that bony structure, and the bone health can definitely be improved upon, and that would to a large extent impact on how easy the childbirth could be. And why I say this? Your regular stretching of your pelvic musculature, you regularly keeping your pelvic muscles taut, and you keeping the abdominal fat to a large extent at bay, all this will help you or help any woman in labor to very easily adapt to the positions of a normal childbirth. And also, this would also help the woman in enduring the stretching of the muscles which happens from inside, because the uterus is enlarged to the child, the uterus contracts, and to birth a child of that weight through the passages of pelvis would become extremely easy. The recovery after your normal childbirth would be very, very easy. It would be a smooth process. That is what we have seen by large extent.
Spoke about bone health when you spoke about puberty.
Yes.
So, what do you mean? Can you elaborate on bone health and how is dance related to bone health?
A good bone health is very necessary for good functioning of joints and for you to pursue any physical activity for a long time in life. You need to have good bone health. And what do I mean by good bone health? Bone basically is nourished by a mineral called as calcium, as you all know. It is present in dairy, milk, and milk products. So this calcium basically is promoted to a large extent or is present to a large extent in women because indirectly attributable to the hormone estrogen again. So as and when the estrogen level starts decreasing, and by what do I mean decreasing? By the time a woman gets into her mid-30s, the estrogen levels gradually starts decreasing. And that's why we see that a lot of women lose the calcium deposition from their spine and their bones by their mid-30s. So we call this as demineralization. It's nothing but, in a common language, decrease in the deposition of calcium or decrease in the minerals present in the bone. And this could impact women to a large extent. They would have back pain, they would have joint pains, and this would hit them and affect them more once they reach menopause. Now, how does dance help you here? So, at a very young age, or from a very young age, if you're used to this practice of dance, and you're used to actually keeping, your pelvic muscles taut or whatever posture, classical, non-classical form of dance, this definitely helps in greater deposition of calcium because of a good hormonal balance in your body from an early age on. And that's why most of the dancers, if you have noticed, actually beyond 50s pursue this art form way into their 60s and 70s, and that's how they're able to mentor people and teach them and pass on this as a tradition. And I would like to add a short note on even the menopausal health over here, because I've seen a lot of dancers pursue this art form beyond their 50s and still teach the students. And how are they able to do it? Because women, once they reach their menopause or post their menopause, have a lot of problem in terms of bone health. Some of them have a problem in terms of, urination. They have a problem in either hesitancy to control or the urge to pass, unable to control. Now, this also happens because of poor pelvic muscle tone. And this pelvic muscle tone, or the urinary bladder, whatever we say, the storage organ of the urine, the musculature there is actually nourished, and the tone is maintained because of the hormone estrogen again. So there it explains why women have certain problems like this. Now, this is a major thing that I would like to reinstate, that holding the pelvis taut or holding the pelvic musculature taut, especially as you are doing in dance, that goes to a large extent in maintaining your pelvic musculature and pelvic muscle tone, which doesn't allow you to get into problems like this, which otherwise is quite common.
Now that we've spoken about a lot of the physical aspects of dance and how it helps the physical well-being, let's talk a bit about mental health in regards to dance, and how does dance contribute to our mental well-being as well?
When it comes to mental well-being, I would like to again break it down into two parts. One is premenopausal and the other is postmenopausal. So premenopausal is when a woman is in a reproductive age. So the major mood swings could be even when a woman is having a normal menstrual cycle without any complaints. She could have something called as premenstrual syndromes, where a person could have terrible mood swings, to an extent that antipsychotic medications or antidepressants are the second line of drugs that we actually suggest for them. So dance as a form of art actually keeps your hormonal levels very well in balance, and it increases the hormones of gratification when practiced consistently on everyday basis. So this can definitely help you counteract something called as PMS or premenstrual syndrome, at least the mood swing part of it, and improve your mental well-being compared to the others. Next, postmenopausal. We all know postmenopausal women go through a lot of mood swings, or it actually starts much when a woman is getting into menopause. Like once she is getting into the age of menopause or perimenopausal age, her hormone starts decreasing. It is more than gradual, it becomes drastic, and suddenly there is very less of hormones left. So obviously they have a lot of mood swings. So how do they counteract this? Again, dance. Dance increases hormones, not only, it increases hormones of gratifications, which we would call as endorphins. That becomes more important in maintaining these mood swings because of the loss of estrogen or progesterone. And in a premenstrual woman, the same estrogen and progesterone would be in normal levels because she's again releasing endorphins because of dance. So in that way, dance helps you actually maintain your mental health. And this is the same, I wouldn't say dance particularly. Yes, it is a major role if you're pursuing that as a profession or passion. Any form of physical activity definitely helps you in increasing your hormones of gratification. So it helps your mental well-being directly.
Thank you. That was such an elaborate note on, the chronological order on which dance affects a woman's life cycle. As doctors, yes, we do recommend and advocate physical activity irrespective of gender, for that matter.
Yes.
So what I would like to say here is that there are people who pursue dance as part of their culture right from their childhood. They carry it on to their adulthood as part of their profession. Some, like me, purely pursue it as part of a passion. But either ways, there is not just the satisfaction of pursuing what you like and pursuing your passion, but you are actually not putting in an extra effort to actually staying healthy once you're a dancer and you're pursuing or practicing dance on a regular basis.
Definitely.
Thank you, Dr. Manju, for explaining such a complex topic in such simple terms for us to understand very easily today.
It was my pleasure, and thank you again for having me here. And I would just like to end by saying that I have to really give a big round of applause, or a huge applause from my end, for all those women who have actually pursued this form of dance as mainstream profession and are relentlessly practicing it, dedicated themselves to it to actually pass it on to the next generations and keep the art form alive. It isn't easy. It isn't easy in today's day and age. As I said, always it requires a lot of dedication and devotion. So a big round of applause, because pursuing any form of art diligently is commendable. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Manju, for joining us today, and I hope you all watching this session enjoyed today's topic, and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.